Good morning, students. Today's topic is anatomy of testis and epididymis. Anatomy of testis and epididymis will be dealt in two video lectures. So let's begin with the part 1 of anatomy of testis and epididymis. In this video lecture, we will only deal with the anatomy of testis only, and in the next video lecture we will discuss epididymis, spermatic cord, and clinical anatomy of testis. So let's start with it. So what is testis? Testis is the male gonad. It is homologous to the female gonad, that is ovaries. So as the female gonad is ovaries in case of females, and the male gonads is the testis in case of male. So if you have to define testis for 2 marks, you have to write that testis is the male gonad which is suspended in the scrotum with the help of spermatic cord. So with the help of spermatic cord, testis is the male gonad which suspends in the scrotum or within the scrotum with the help of spermatic cord. Now talking about the dimensions of testis, as you can see is oval in shape. If we talk about the shape of testis, then we can see that it is oval in shape, and it is compressed from side to side. So it is oval in shape and is compressed from side to side, and talking about its length, which is approximately 3.5 to 3.8 centimeters, 3.5 to 3.8 centimeters long, and its breadth is around 2.5 centimeters. Breadth will be measured from before forwards or before backwards, so which will be around 2.5 centimeters. And side to side thickness, if we will talk about thickness, then side to side thickness is about 1.8 to 2 centimeters. So this is the normal dimension of testis, and in case of adult it weighs around 10 to 15 grams. Now talking about external features of testis, so broadly testis has two poles or ends, the upper pole and the lower pole. Then as it has two borders, the anterior border, yes, this one that I am tracing by my cursor, the anterior border, and the posterior border, this is the posterior border, and two surfaces, the lateral surface which we can see in this figure, and the medial surface which we cannot see in this figure. So testis has two poles, upper and lower, two borders, anterior and posterior, and two surfaces, lateral and medial. Now talking about upper pole and lower pole, both as you can see is convex and smooth. Yes, both upper and lower pole is convex and smooth, and upper pole is connected to the spermatic cord. Upper pole gives attachment to the spermatic cord. And talking about anterior border, so anterior border as you can see also is convex and smooth and is fully covered by the tunica vaginalis. In next slide we will deal with covering of testis, and the outermost covering is the tunica vaginalis. So the anterior border is totally covered or fully covered by tunica vaginalis. The posterior border is so called straight, more or less straight. As you can see in this figure, the posterior border is more or less straight and is partially covered by tunica vaginalis, not fully but partially covered by tunica vaginalis, the outermost covering of testis. Now this is epididymis. Yes, this is epididymis, and this epididymis lies along the lateral part of the posterior border. Yes, posterior border के along दिख रहा है, this is epididymis and it lies along the lateral part of the posterior border. And the lateral part of the epididymis is separated by the testis by an extension. Yes, this is separated by the testis. This epididymis is separated by the testis by an extension which is called as the sinus of the epididymis. This we will describe epididymis in detail in next video lecture. Now we will move on to for the external feature of testis. Furthermore, the medial and lateral surfaces, as you can see the lateral surface here, the medial and lateral surfaces are also convex and also smooth. All around all the surfaces, all the border of the testis is very smooth and convex, and you can I already told you that the spermatic cord is attached to the upper pole of the testis. So there is a small body, there is a small oval body at the upper pole of the testis, at the junction where the spermatic cord joins, or where the epididymis is also joined through the superior ligament of epididymis. This oval body is called as the appendix of the testis. Now talking about covering of testis, so testis have in total 3 coverings. Tunica vaginalis, I am telling you the coverings from outward, without inwards. From outwards we are talking about the coverings of the testis. So the outermost covering is the tunica vaginalis, then we have the middle layer, that is the tunica albuginea, and then we have the last layer, that is the tunica vasculosa. So we have 3 layers or 3 coverings of testis. The outermost layer, that is tunica vaginalis, is has also 2 layers. The outer one is the parietal layer and the inner one is the visceral layer. In next slide it is very more clear. In next figure it will be very more clear that the 2 layers, visceral layer and the parietal layer of tunica vaginalis, is shown very beautifully in the next diagram. So this is tunica vaginalis, yes, this one, the parietal layer, and this is the visceral layer of tunica vaginalis. And when we talk about clinical anatomy of testis, then we will study about hydrocele, and hydrocele is nothing but the accumulation of fluid in between that parietal and visceral layer of tunica vaginalis. So after tunica vaginalis we have the middle layer, that is tunica albuginea. This is a very dense layer. This is tunica albuginea. This is very dense layer and it has fibrous coating all around the testis. Yes, fibrous coating all around the testis. So this is tunica albuginea. Yes, this is tunica albuginea. And the posterior border of tunica albuginea, if you talk about the posterior border of tunica albuginea, then it is thickened to form an incomplete septum. It is thickened to form an incomplete septum, which is called as the mediastinum testis. So this is the mediastinum testis. Posterior border of the tunica albuginea is thickened to form the mediastinum testis. And the innermost layer, the tunica vasculosa. The tunica vasculosa is the innermost vascular coating which lines the lobules of testis. इंटरनल स्ट्रक्चर में हम लोब्यूल्स का बात करेंगे. सबसे पहले लोब्यूल्स, द ग्लैंडुलर पार्ट ऑफ द टेस्टिस. दिस इज द ग्लैंडुलर पार्ट. ये सेक्शन दिख रहा है, दिस इज द ग्लैंडुलर पार्ट ऑफ द टेस्टिस. एंड जनरली द ग्लैंडुलर पार्ट ऑफ टेस्टिस विल हैव 200 to 300 lobules. 200 to 300, I'm talking in numbers. So 200, 200, 300, 200 to 300 lobules were there in glandular part of the testis, and each lobule has around 2 to 3 seminiferous tubules. Each lobule has around 2 to 3 seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules are highly coiled structure which measures around 60 centimeter in length. If we uncoil this seminiferous tubule, then it will measure around 60 centimeter in length and its diameter is around 0.2 millimeter. So this highly coiled structure, that is seminiferous tubule, 2 to 3 seminiferous tubule will form a lobule in the testis. Then these seminiferous tubules are lined by cells generally which helps in formation or which has the function of formation of spermatozoan. So you will study this in detail in physiology. Now these seminiferous tubule, as you can see in this picture, these seminiferous tubule will join, 2 to 3 seminiferous tubule in a lobule will join to form a straight seminiferous tubule or straight tubule. Yes, you can trace, this is, yes, this one, this is the straight tubule. So around 20 to 30 straight tubules were found. Around 20 to 30 straight tubules were formed by joining the apices of the lobules. These are the lobules, and you can see in this figure that each lobule has, each lobule, apices of the lobule generally has a straight seminiferous tubule, and all these lobules will form around 20 to 30 straight seminiferous tubules, and these straight seminiferous tubule will further form a mesh like network, or form a network of tubules, which is called as rete testis, so this is rete testis. This rete testis is in turn gives 12 to 30, around, or 15 to 30 in numbers, the efferent ductules. So this rete testis will give rise to around 12 to 15, or 12 to 30, or 15 to 30. Different authors have different numbers. You can memorize as 15 to 30 efferent ductules which originates from this rete testis, and each tubule becomes highly coiled. Each this ductules or tubules will become highly coiled and will enter or forms the lobe of the head of epididymis. So this is all about internal structure of testis. Now talking about blood supply. So the arterial supply is done by the testicular artery. Yes, this one, testicular artery, which is a branch of abdominal aorta. You can see in this figure. Yes, a direct branch of abdominal aorta is testicular artery, which is at the level of around L2 vertebrae. So at the level of L2 vertebrae, the abdominal aorta gives two branches, right and left testicular artery, which is the main arterial supply of the testis. This testicular artery, this descends in the posterior abdominal wall. That is why kidney is shown in this figure. So this testicular artery basically descends in through the posterior abdominal wall to reach the deep inguinal ring, and after that it generally enters the spermatic cord. Yes, this circle is drawn to signify the spermatic cord. So after reaching the deep inguinal ring, this testicular artery enters the spermatic cord, and through the posterior border of the testis, yes, it divides into some branches. So if you have to write the arterial supply of testis, then it will be testicular artery, which is a direct branch of abdominal aorta at the level of L2. Now talking about venous drainage. So similar to the arterial supply, we have the testicular vein, which drains the venous blood from the testis. But before the venous blood drains into testicular vein, a venous plexus known as Pampiniform plexus, which is formed by the veins emerging from the testis. Yes, you can see as the veins emerging from the testis. So this veins is in the form of a plexus known as Pampiniform plexus. Pampiniform means like a vine. So this Pampiniform plexus will firstly drain the blood from the testis, and this Pampiniform plexus will open into the testicular vein. Yes, you can see in this figure, this Pampiniform plexus will drain the blood into the testicular vein, and in case of testicular vein, you can see that the testicular vein directly drains into the abdominal aorta. So you can see which testicular vein directly drains into the abdominal aorta. Inferior vena cava. I'm totally I got it wrong, and this is inferior vena cava. Pardon, please. Not abdominal aorta, but inferior vena cava. So the right testicular vein, as you can see in this figure, drains directly into the inferior vena cava, whereas the left testicular vein, it will drain into the left renal vein. Yes, this is left renal vein. So the left testicular vein will drain blood into left renal vein, and the right testicular vein will drain directly into the inferior vena cava. Now talking about lymphatic drainage. So all the lymph, as you can see in this figure, all the lymph from both the testes will drain into the pre-aortic and para-aortic group of lymph nodes, the pre-aortic as well as para-aortic lymph nodes. This is the pre-aortic lymph nodes which is located in front of aorta, and these are the para-aortic lymph nodes which is located or situated parallel to the aorta. So all the lymphatics, all the lymph will from the testis will drain into the pre-aortic as well as para-aortic lymph nodes. Now nerve supply. So testis has both the sympathetic nerve fibers as well as parasympathetic nerve fibers. Sympathetic nerve fibers will originate or will be given by the nerve T10, root value T10 and 11 from the spinal nerve. So the segment T10, basically segment T10 will give the sympathetic nerve fibers to the testis, whereas the pelvic splenic nerves, that is S2, S3, S4, will give the parasympathetic nerve fibers to the testis. And the nerves generally has both afferent as well as efferent nerve fibers. The afferent nerve fibers are basically for testicular sensation, as for example sensation of pain. Any kind of sensation in testis will be because of the afferent nerve supply, afferent nerve fibers, whereas the efferent nerve fibers will be for the blood vessels, and it has a vasomotor function. So this is all for today. In next video lecture we will deal with epididymis, the spermatic cord, and the clinical anatomy of testis. Till then, stay home, stay healthy, take care. Thank you so much.